It's game of the week, so we have San Francisco traveling cross-country to Philadelphia. This game's interesting because obviously it is a rematch of last year's NFC Championship game and what a lot of people think is a preview of this year's NFC Championship game. So you start, I think in a big game like this, a lot of people will do like the top 10 players. Who has more of the better players in the game? I like to go by position group, right? And so if you go quarterback, I would go ahead and give that to Philly. I think offensive line is Philly. I think run game, I would go towards San Francisco. I think Christian McCaffrey, Elijah Mitchell, that offensive line, and the scheme of Kyle Shanahan, I think I would give the run game edge to San Francisco. I think weapons, I would probably lean San Francisco as well because you have a chess piece in Debo. Brandon Ayuk is a legit number one target. I think George Kittle is better than any tight end on the roster right now for Philadelphia. And I think what the backs can do out of the backfield also needs to be taken into account. DeAndre Swift is good. He is not a pass-catching back like a Christian McCaffrey can be. Swift is fine. He's not Christian McCaffrey. So I would lean San Francisco there. So call it a wash on offense. If you had to go defensively, pass rush, I would probably go wash as well. Maybe lean Philly a little bit.
I would lean Philly.
I'd probably lean Philly a little bit. But linebackers, I would definitely go San Francisco. And DBs, I would go San Francisco as well. So, I mean, again, you could probably call it a wash. That's what makes it so tough is you go position group by position group. You're sitting here and you're like, maybe one position group towards one of the teams, but it's really not. It's not a landslide. And so then you start putting value on all the positions, right? What's more valuable? For example, Jalen Hurts is more valuable than, say, a linebacker, with Fred Warner, right? So that's what makes it tough. Also, weather, that takes... You have to put some consideration into that. San Francisco, warm weather team coming across the country, going to be cold, maybe even snowing. With all that being said, I will go San Francisco. I think they run the football more effectively. I think this is going to be a ball control, muddy it up, possession type of game. I'll go ahead and take San Fran 20-16. I think it's going to be close, field goals, defense. That's just my take on it. What's yours?
I like the Eagles. I like it's going to be a close game. There's not going to be one side that runs away with it here. They're too evenly matched for that. Technically, when you look at it, it could be a wash on the offense and the defense. I mean, some people might have the edge in some spots.
I guess what's your edge for Philly? You think it's the Jalen Hurts factor?
I think it's the Jalen Hurts just because when you look at everything together, what's the one thing that Philadelphia has that San Francisco does not? A very hyper-mobile quarterback. Somebody that can get out, move, extend the play. Like, the thing that worries me for San Francisco is that we saw Brock under pressure. Brock doesn't do well under pressure. He's going against arguably the best defensive front in football. I don't know what to expect from him at the quarterback position. I know what I'm getting from the weapons. I know McCaffrey's special. I know once they run the ball and they get the run game going, things are going to lighten up and get a little bit easier for Purdy. But at the end of the day, like, play in and play out, he's going to be running for his life.
I mean, there's a chance. So let's go ahead and get to those keys to win. I would say San Francisco offense, let Brock cut it loose. We've seen this defense get got. Dak had a very good game against them. Josh Allen just had a really good game against them. If it wasn't for drops, Patrick Mahomes would have had that game-winning play against that Philly secondary. They are weak in the secondary. Again, you need time. He needs to stay upright in order to distribute the ball. But don't fall in love with that run game. I think you have to stay committed to it, but don't fall in love with it, right? Christian's going to have a tough game. You're going to have to get him involved in other ways outside of just running into the line. I think they'll have the edge running the ball, but it's not going to come easy. Let Brock cut it loose a little bit. If this is your franchise guy, this is what it takes. On the road, tough game. You have the advantage. You have to use it. If your advantage is Brock, you have to cut it loose.
I don't know if the advantage is Brock, though.
No, it's not Brock versus Jalen, though. It's Brock versus that secondary.
Okay.
That's a decided advantage. Okay, that's not even close.
They're going to have to be able to get a lot of... I just don't see San Francisco hitting like the big plays because those big plays aren't going to have up time to develop, right? Like
that's why you have to stay consistent with the run game, so then you keep the front seven off balance.
I will say the Christian McCaffrey out of the backfield pass catching. Yeah. Now that's going to be an easy way to take a little bit of pressure off Brock as well.
Maybe it's not deep downfield. I'm saying you have to throw. Brock's going to have 30-plus attempts. He's going to have 250 yards plus.
Yeah.
Because that defense can get got in the secondary. San Francisco defense, don't let Jalen run the ball effectively. We've seen Jalen over the last 2 weeks only has 350 yards combined through the air. yet he's still the MVP frontrunner. It's because what he does with his legs and as a leader in the red zone. Situationally, Jalen's one of the best quarterbacks running the football in the game. So I think if you can keep him hemmed in, maybe even put a spy on him if you have to, but don't let him roll out of the back of the pocket, that's where you're going to have your advantage there defensively. And I think they might, just because Fred Warner and how athletic their linebackers are, they're going to be able to kind of keep an eye on Jalen.
Okay. I can see that. Having a good spy.
Yeah. And then Philly offense, I would say, one, go deep. Go deep, because the secondary in terms of safeties for San Francisco, with Hufanga being out, that's kind of their weak point now defensively.
Yeah.
And also what you can do with deep route concepts is also sneak guys underneath in the flat. What that does is draw the attention of a Fred Warner and of a Dre Greenlaw. So what happens if you guys got guys deep and you're pulling the linebackers' attention away, then you can run the ball with Jalen a little bit more if the play breaks down and it's not there. So you have the ability to go deep, you can hit your check down, or you're pulling those linebackers away and setting the DBs deep so you can get some yards on the through the ground as well.
Which is why getting a run game established early as possible too, so that the play actions work. So you can hit on those play actions.
Yeah.
Get those linebackers coming up into the box and
be able to hit them over the top.
Really trying to stop the run. Next thing you know, Jalen Hurts is tossing one up to A.J. Brown for
He only has 2 or 3 big throws a game, but damn, are they big throws.
Yeah, and they're accurate.
Really good throws. Yeah.
He doesn't usually miss on them.
No. Philly defense, you got to pressure Brock, just like you said. You're like, I don't know if they're going to have time to develop. You read my mind, because if he's not upright, he can't distribute the ball. I think Brock is fine. I think he's a good quarterback, not great. Great quarterbacks can overcome bad offensive lines. Good quarterbacks cannot. I think he's good. They're going to have to play well up front, and Philly's going to have to pressure Brock if they want to counteract that.
All right.
It's the keys to victory right there. What's your score prediction? I already said mine's 2016.
He's at 2016.
You're usually a little more higher scoring than me.
Yeah, and I do, like, even though these defenses are good, I mean, they both have their issues in the secondary. I could see that, and you can't deny the offensive power on both sides here either. So give me like a 28-24 game, Philly.
Okay. Can't wait.
I think it'll be good. Far and away the best game of the week. Stood out. Jumped off the page.
Oh, that's easily.
Every now and then you have to like search for one, but this is not one of the ones that you're
this is one that you circled in preseason. You're like, okay, 100%. Rematch right there. Especially this stretch. Kansas City, Buffalo, San Francisco. Like, Philly circled this stretch right here.
Yeah.
Like, hey, November's important, right? November, early December. That's going to be a big one right there.
For sure. All right, guys, that is all we have for